Welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And I was thinking about this happiness show, the idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that I know many of us are trying to achieve or want to achieve. And I didn't know where to go with it up front. I thought maybe I could just be happy and positive, but I'm often that way when I just start the show. I thought maybe I could start with a story. I was thinking on what I should do. And then I recognized something. I wrote a book on it, but I never published it. And people wonder why I didn't publish it. And I figured now was a good time to bring that up, to talk about what the book was about, what happiness is about, and why I didn't publish it. And I think that might be something very interesting for you to hear. And I'll be sharing something about myself and how I push through times that are not so great and how I still try my damnness to achieve happiness. And relatively, I'm a pretty happy person, relatively. So in 2021, I began writing my book on happiness. So it's about 5 years ago I started writing it. And that actually is the book right there. It's actually right there. The entire book is written. And I wrote the book in 2021 to release it in 2022. But 2022 was a terrible year for me. 2010 was the worst year of my life. Hands down, the worst year of my life. And I tell the story often how bad it was. Is when I got on keto. It's when things happened. It wasn't because keto saved my life, but it's when I contemplated suicide. Things were so bad in 2010. It was absolutely terrible. And I start the book talking about that bad time. I wanted people to know that this wasn't going to be a book about, hey, you could do it. It wasn't going to be that book. It was about reality, how to deal with stuff, hard stuff in your life, loss, tragedy, all those types of things, and then still moving forward, even with these bad things in your life. So when I did that, I then took the first 5 chapters of the book and I gave it to a couple of friends. And I said, hey, do me a favor, read the first 5 chapters. Tell me what you think. If you like it, let me know and I'll release it. And nobody got back to me. This is a true story. No one got back to me. So when no one got back to me, my assumption was, okay, then my friends, they like me. The book sucks. They didn't want to be mean to me. So they said nothing. If someone will tell Larry it sucks, I don't have to say anything. So I assumed the book wasn't very good. That was my assumption. I mean, of course, I thought it was good. I wrote it, right? But it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what the audience thinks, right? So obviously, I thought it was good, but they obviously did not think it was so good. So I thought, okay, I got a crappy book. I'll revisit it. Maybe I'll rewrite it, right? I'll figure out another answer. Well, by the time I was figuring another answer, my life was collapsing again in 2022. For those of you who don't know, the campaign in 2022 was an utter disaster. Things failed. People failed me. I failed people. People betrayed me. It was terrible. Lots of bad things happened during 2022. My marriage was collapsing. My kids were unhappy. Everything was terrible for that year. So I thought, how the hell am I going to publish a book on happiness when I've got nothing but failures and things are terrible? Well, then my life was more of a disaster during 2022. And so I thought, okay, now the end of the book that I'd written was completely irrelevant anymore. It didn't work at all. So I had to I've got to rewrite the entire ending. I thought, well, when can I rewrite the entire ending? And I thought, you know what? I've got to be able to have a spot to where I can say I can get back into a spot of happiness again, right? That's what I wanted to be, back into a spot of happiness. And when I find that spot of happiness again, that's when I'll rewrite it. Well, I started feeling happy again. It took me some time, as it does for most people, to feel time, to be happy again. And now I'm too damn busy. But I will be writing the book. I will. And I will redo the ending to where it will come out and I will publish it next year. That is a promise that I will make. I will rewrite the ending and I will publish it next year because I am back to being happy. You might go, well, wait a minute, Larry. What do you mean by happy? The founders of our nation knew something that no other people usually don't even bother talking about. And that is, they talked about happiness in our founding documents. They talked about the idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And why is that so important? And it should be for everyone, because government should be doing its best to try to get us to be happy to the best of its ability, not by giving us happiness. And this is the problem. They want to give us happiness. No, it is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, not the happiness. Government cannot make you happy. What government can do is help create an environment so you can pursue happiness. That's what government can do. I mean, it does a terrible job of it, but that's what it could do, right? In theory, you'd want some form of government that would create rules and an environment to where you would feel comfortable in your life and have the freedom, your liberty, to go and pursue happiness, because happiness is the pursuit. And that's the key. I know it sounds trite, it's the journey, whatever, but it is. It's trite for a reason, right? It's trite because it's actually true. There are 3 things that make you happy, and these 3 things matter. You have to feel loved, you have to feel respected, and you have to have purpose. And when you lose all 3 of them, when you lose all 3, you will become self-destructive. That is simply human nature. It doesn't matter who you are, how smart you are, how cool you are. It's irrelevant how good looking you are. I mean, I'm really good looking, but that doesn't matter. If I lose all 3 of those, I will become self-destructive, and so will you. If you have one of those, like I only feel loved, or I only feel respected, or I only have purpose, there's a chance you can become obsessed with that thing, that individual who you feel loved by, that thing that grants you respect, that purpose that consumes you. The odds are higher into that happening, right? You could happen. If you have 2 of them, now you're on a mission. If you can find the mission, what's the other one? What am I missing? Am I not feeling loved? Am I not feeling respected? Do I not have purpose? And again, the piece I want to bring here is you have to feel loved. And that's a big difference. Because even if you are loved or aren't loved, do you feel it? And one of the hardest things for us as friends, as lovers, as family members, as neighbors, as community members is, of course I love that person, but do they feel it? It doesn't matter if you love them if they don't feel it. And that might mean words, that might mean deeds, that might be things. Who knows, right? Who knows? The person has to feel loved. They got to feel respected. What if you do respect? Well, I do respect you, Larry, but do I feel it? That piece matters tremendously. Do they feel it? Do they have purpose? And I bring these 3 up because sometimes there's like an itch. Something's wrong. Something's up. I don't get it. What's going on? You're missing one of them. And how will you know? You'll know because when you were constantly seeking small bits of pleasure, those big pushes of the thing, the drug or the game or the thing you're doing that gives you constant, oh, I'm feeling good. You're not happy. You're missing one of them. Which one are you? Do you feel loved? You go, I don't know. Maybe not. Do you feel respected? Do you have a purpose? When this happens, you will gain your happiness back. Now, Nosy asked a very important piece. Pursuit, never accomplish it. No, you will. If you go for it right, you will find happiness, but you'll lose it because that's the way of life. There'll be times in your life, and we've all had it, where we don't feel respected. Times in our life when we don't feel loved. Times in our life when we've lost our purpose. All of us have it back and forth, some all 3. Most of us lose it here or there. The key is, can you then find it? Can you then find it? Ryan says, quality supernatural, I deserve to be loved. Here is the most important piece, Ryan. And this is it. This word is a very dangerous word. And the word is deserved. Here is something that will make a lot of you unhappy. Because a lot of people talk this talk and they're wrong. They're making things worse. No one deserves anything. And that sounds horrible, but it's true. No one deserves anything. If you think you deserve it, you will be unhappy. Remember, at its core, happiness is what you expect versus what you got. If you expected this, you got that, you're pretty happy. You have to take this, you got that, you're not happy. You're upset. That's customer service. Customer service is meeting expectations. Depends what the expectation is. If I think I deserve everything and I don't have it, I am going to be unhappy. There's a difference between demanding respect and commanding respect. And boy, is that hard for people to understand. And for those who don't know, my normal job when I'm not doing this, I very often spend time doing executive coaching, things like that, all those things, right? And the piece that I tell people about is you have to stop thinking you deserve anything. You have to stop thinking that. You have to get out there and talk. You got to get there and meet people. You got to find the things you're looking for. You're searching for it. And if you don't search for it, you're not going to find it. That's true. If you don't search for it, you're not going to find it. I remember years ago, it was a friend of mine, and she was very happy at the time. She had found a husband, and she was looking for a husband for many years. She wanted to be married, and she couldn't find a husband. And I remember her mom told her something. She said, how are you going to, you want a husband? And she was always talking about, she wanted to get married, wanted to find a husband. Okay, great. Good for her. That was a thing she was trying to achieve. So and this is years ago, and she's trying to find his husband. And she says, her dad said, her mom said to her, do you think he's going to fall through your roof into your lap while you're watching TV? And she's like, what? You don't go out to meet people. So how are you going to find this husband you've been searching for? Is he going to fall through the roof on your lap? Now she's teasing, obviously, but the concept was real. Okay, wait a minute. So I got to go out and do something. You got to go out and do something. You do. You have to go out and do something. Whatever that is, you got to go out and do something. And the journey, to your point, Nosy, is part of it. Going out there and having that purpose is part of it, right? That is part of the piece that I wanted to bring up. That was part of it, getting out there and doing it. So in my own world, Dee asked the question, and let me show it now if I can. Dee says, I would like to know from Larry and all three guests, what are the 2 to 3 things that make you happy that you could not comprehend not being in your life? Well, I mean, they weren't in my life, so I can comprehend them being not being in my life, but it wouldn't be great. And this was very recently. One of the things my daughters and I do, and I'm very lucky to have both my daughters in my home with me. One of them is 22. She's still with me. I'm not throwing her out. And of course, my 16-year-old, which of course, high school is still with me. So having both my girls with me, one of the things that's amazing for me, that makes me very happy, and it may seem silly, but those of you who have people close, you'll love it. I really enjoy cooking for and eating with my daughters. And then afterwards, watching YouTube videos together. And I do it often. I try to eat with my daughters at least once a day, every day, sometimes twice a day if I can. It's not always possible with our different schedules and such. My oldest daughter has a job. I do this. And my youngest daughter is in high school, so we can't always miss a match, but we go out of our way to eat together at least once a day. We often eat together multiple times a day. Often I'll cook, or one of them will cook. Most of our meals, almost all our meals are made at home. Almost all are cooked at home. Almost all are homemade meals. Rarely we do order something out, but it's maybe once a month, maybe. We rarely go out to eat, maybe once a month, and that's if that. Almost all of our meals are cooked by one of us or all three of us in some way, shape, or form. And we eat together. And we watch videos together, and we laugh, and we talk about our day. That is very good for me. And of all the garbage I deal with, when I'm able to sit with them and talk about things like that, it very often makes my day. It makes me feel loved by my daughters. It makes me feel respected by them when they ask my opinion of things, when they know about things, and they are part of my purpose. So my daughters give me all three. It's family only, obviously, but they give me all three. But I'll keep going. My team, and Dee, you're part of my team. The people who support me when I run for office, the people who get out there and show up when I run for office, the people who help me on my Sharpe show, all those people who go out of their way to do things. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them actually believe in me. Some are just hanging out, but most actually believe in me. And that gives me respect. And that gives me love. It's a different type of love, obviously, than my daughters, but it's still love. I think it does give me that. And one of the reasons why I don't quit, and Dee knows I very often want to quit. One of the reasons why I don't quit is the people who support me, and particularly those who've been with me for years, like Missy, 9 years now, Missy. Is that how long we've been together? How long is it? Has it been that long? Just forever. That's my purpose. I don't want to stop. I want to keep going. So it gives me purpose also. It's the reason why I can keep going through all the crap that gets thrown at me. It's the reason why when I get angry, I can stop getting angry and keep moving forward because I do have happiness. It's the reason why I don't just sit around all day and, play video games all day. Mike gets mad at me because I don't play enough video games, right? He's probably right. But I don't do enough of it. And I don't have to. Like, I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for other things. I have my purpose that I keep pushing through. So I think the team is important. The supporters are important. And my daughters are important. I think those are the 2 to 3, if that makes sense. I think those are 3 things that keep me happiest. And of course, I bring up all the time. There's a difference between pleasure and happiness. Pleasure is individual. And it's usually done through a substance or an item or something like that gives you pleasure. Happiness is always with others. It's always with others. It's about others. And it's very often about a community, but not always. It can be one individual. And to be forward, love doesn't have to be romantic love. It can be romantic love. Some people really want romantic love. That woman I was talking about earlier, she wanted a husband. She wanted romantic love. Not everyone wants that. So it needs to be love. It has to be love. It does not have to be romantic love. It can be, but it can be love from a brother, sister, cousin, uncle, my daughters. It can be love from friends, people who are close to you, mom, dad. It can be anything, right? As long as you feel loved, that's what matters. It doesn't have to be romantic love. Respect doesn't have to be business. For many men still to this day, respect comes from their profession, but not required. Not required. Many men do find it through their profession, but doesn't matter. Can be through anything. Can be through groups, can be through charities, communities, whatever. Feeling respected is key. And of course, purpose can be anything. Purpose can be through work, but can also be through family, friends, nonprofits, politics. It can be anything. So I hope that was helpful. Phil says, I hope you get your book done. Excelsior. Thank you. I got to work on it next year. I will. I got to rewrite the last chapter has to be totally rewritten. It doesn't work anymore. But unless maybe I do an addendum. Phil, maybe I do an addendum. Maybe I leave the original, express what happened, and tell a secondary story. I could have. It'll be a longer book. Maybe. It's another idea. I just thought about it now. Maybe I'll do that instead. So maybe. We'll see. So I hope that was interesting for you guys. That's the part that matters to me. It's what I think is important. It's why I keep going. And what you often find is when it comes to politics in particular, people aren't talking about happiness. They're talking about hurting the other, harming the other, how bad the other is, or how I'll protect you, I'll save you. I said this a long time ago, and I'll say it again. It's trite, but it's often true. Democrats want to be your mother. They want to give you everything and be nice. Republicans want to be your father. They want to protect you and go out there and fight and be the hardcore guy with the rules. Libertarians like me, I don't want to be your mother. I don't want to be your father. I want to be your brother. That's what I want to be. You go off, live your own life as you see fit. And when you need a ride to the airport, give me a call. I'll give you a ride to the airport, right? When you get married and you invite me, I'll show up to the wedding, right? That's what I want to be. That's what I want government to be. Government should be like that. If it's going to exist, it should not be a mother or a father. It should be a brother. When you're in trouble, all right, give me a call, right? Give me a call because you asked for it. More voluntarily, that's how we should do it. So yeah, let me grab a couple comments. Got a bunch of comments here. I do want to grab some. I know a lot of you are chatting up here. You're saying hi to each other. I love that piece. I do love that. All righty. Let's see here. And by the way, people are coming on in about 10 minutes. I'm going to grab some comments when we get there, and then we'll keep going after that, obviously. So Peace is in the house. Peace, how are you, my friend? It's been a while. I hope you are well. So, all righty. Get that one. Yomir says, Larry Sharpe, Governor New York. Thank you. I appreciate that. D says, I still would read this book. Give me a copy, Larry. All right, I'll get you one. I'll send it with you. Okay. Yep. Okay. Andrew says, we remember, never forget what they did to you. People did a lot of bad things that year. And one thing I've had to learn, which is very challenging for me sometimes, is, but I teach it, I try to preach it, which is I just have to forgive. Forgive doesn't mean forget, but it does mean forgive. The problem is if I don't forgive, then I just hold that, what's the idea? Being mad at someone is like drinking poison and hoping that they die. It's true, right? You keep it in you and it harms you. And I've had it harm me before. Sometimes it takes me time to get past. Sometimes it takes me time to forgive. but I always want to forgiving because we just have to. If you don't, it just eats you alive. At one point, you have to forgive. Just move on. And I do. To use the wisdom of Humongous, sometimes you have to just walk away. Yes. Ryan, 2014, 15, and 2020 were effing brutal years for me, both personally and professional. Yeah, they can be challenging. Mine was 2010. 2010 was the worst year of my life. Horrible. My business was collapsing at the time. I was shutting everything down, and it was collapsing from the crash. It was the end of it. I was 6 figures in debt, couldn't repay it, just over. Same time, my daughter, my youngest daughter, was diagnosed with heart issues and had to go on open heart surgery at 18 days old. Just crazy. Her mom is literally in the hospital, moving away from. I don't have my wife with me at all. She's gone. I'm abandoned. I'm a single dad all of a sudden because I had a 6-year-old. And the same week, my mom gets diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and there's no hope. She's terminal. Yeah. I was like, can I just check out? Can I just check out? Right. So yeah, I get it. It was a very horrible year. 2022 was pretty bad too, but not as bad as that. 2010 was far worse. So far worse. P says, Larry will be governor. I'm certain of it. I hope you're right. We will see. So Adirondack says, ever hear someone argue we are constitutionally guaranteed happiness? No, but you do hear people argue that we are guaranteed safety. You do hear that. Why, Adirondack? Because if I guaranteed happiness, if we were to guarantee that, what do I do for that? How do I gain more control? That's tougher. But safety, I can gain tons of control. So yeah, we just keep going. So we do guarantee safety. You've heard my governor say it. Our governor say it. It's my right to keep New Yorkers safe. Her words. Her right to keep New Yorkers safe. Her number one job is to keep New Yorkers safe. That's what she says. Not true at all. But yeah, absolutely. So, all righty. Let's see. D says they like to make you think they can give you happiness. They do. They're like, oh yeah. So we'll just pass this law. Then you'll be happy. Oh, just one more law. Then you'll be happy. Phil says life is pain. Well, look, what I tell people all the time is life is a series of both joy and pain. That's what it is. You will always have joy and you will always have pain. Regardless of your lifestyle, regardless of who you are, you will always have joy. You will always have pain. It's how it works. The question is, can you set your life up to where you have the minimum amount of pain and the most amount of joy, right? But you will have both no matter what. And can you set your life up to where you have more options so you can quickly get out of your pain versus having to wallow in it because you don't have enough options in your life, whether those options come from money, community, people, knowledge, whatever those options come from. Can you set your life up so that when you have the pain, you have the most amount of options to get out of it? Or are you stuck wallowing in it because you don't have enough options available, right? And then when you have joy, do you have enough people around you to all enjoy the joy and to spread it around and to make it even stronger? Have you set your life up that way? And if you haven't, maybe you should. It's important for you to set it up that way. So yes. And it says, I'd prefer to be loved. I would. But if you take that away from me, then, well, being feared is one okie dokie by me. Homelander, played by Anthony Starr. Yes. Look, there's the whole thing where you either be loved, respected, or feared. The problem is fear and respect are very often confused for each other. In fact, some people say fear is respect. It's not, but they will actually tell you that. The reality is there's a difference. But they can often look similar. So many people, particularly men, when they've done these studies, women tend to want to be loved more than respected. Men, by percentage, tend to want to be respected more than loved. Women tend to not want to be feared, at least publicly in the surveys they give. And men tend to be okay being feared because men often confuse respect and fear. So it's a very valid point. They often confuse it. Phil, thank you for the membership, my friend. Gifting those memberships out there. I appreciate it. Yes. All righty. Phil goes on to say, pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. The really great men must, I think, have a sadness on earth. Well, there is a piece there to this, which is if you go for great things, you will have great highs and great lows. That's true. The more you push, the harder it will become. So yes. P says I'm wrong. He says, okay, everybody deserves love. It's the only thing that's actually real. We are loved. But do you deserve it? If you believe it, you may find problems. Missy says, I can't find a husband either. Imagine that. Maybe you don't want one to fall through the roof too? Maybe, Missy. There we go. Maybe. Andrew says, we ain't entitled to nothing we haven't worked or fought for. Yeah. Adirondack, boss, you should respect me. Employee, yes, I should. True. Yes. I would always say, if the more someone has to say, I'm the boss, the less of the boss. So, yeah. Kintsugi, hello, she's here. Kintsugi, so good to see you. Cat in hand on your picture. Love it. Glad to see you. I'm glad you're here. So, Romero says, I used to tell people that I want a lot, but in reality, I deserve nothing. Well, there's the key, right? If you think you deserve all these things, when you get them, you won't respect them. It's the definition of being spoiled, right? If I think I deserve $1 million and then I get it, I go, yeah, well, I deserve it. If I don't think I deserve it, to your point, I work for it or do something to get it, then I go, yeah, I earned it. Yes. Bronner says, of the 3 things you named, I think I'm most lacking purpose. That's very valuable, Bronner. It's very valuable because if you see that, you can find purpose. Now, here's the issue. Most people think finding purpose means I've got to go out and start, whatever, saving the world. No, not required. It can, not required. You can jump on someone else's purpose. It's okay. Back in 2016, I jumped on Gary Johnson's campaign. I was all in his, he was going to get 5%. We're going to change the world. That was going to happen. I didn't, but that was my purpose for 2016. So you can find someone else's purpose. You don't have to use your own. Up to you, obviously. But just starting someone else's purpose will get you looking, will get you back in action. So if someone else who you respect, and I would say that's an important piece, you have to respect them. If you respect that person and they have a purpose and you can jump on their team in some way, shape, or form, assist them in some way, do something for them, that can easily scratch that itch. And when that purpose goes away, you're looking for the next one. It's okay to be looking. To Nosie's point, you can keep looking for it. The question is, when you're not looking for it, something's missing. You don't know. You're like, what am I missing? Like, what? You don't get it. Like, something's weird. And how you'll find yourself doing this is you'll start doing things that waste time. That's how you'll know it's working. So let's say you feel loved and you feel respected, a purpose. You'll start doing things that just kill time, whatever that thing is. And you'll feel almost like you're unsettled. And when you feel that, it's when you don't have purpose. That's how you know it's not purpose, right? Because you're unsettled and you go for a walk, not because you think you should go for a walk, because you're bored, right? There's many reasons to go for a walk, but you don't go because you enjoy it. Or you go, I'll go. Or worse, that's actually productive. You do something like you lay around and watch Netflix for 10 hours, right? That kind of thing, right? You play a video game you don't even like, and you do that for like 6 hours. That's how you start recognizing, man, I don't have a purpose. That's how you begin to know. Those are the things you'll start doing, killing time for things you don't really enjoy. Now, again, if you enjoy, going for a walk with your friends and stuff, that doesn't count. But if you're just like, I'm bored, I'm going to go walk someplace. No purpose, right? Oh, you're playing a video game you really love. You enjoy the video game. That's different. But when you're playing because, hey, and I'm better, I'll just play this one. You're lacking purpose. I hope that was clear. So D says, lovely answer, Larry. Your daughters are your rocks. It's true. They give me unconditional love. I do love that. They give me unconditional love. I do think it's amazing. I adore that tremendously. So yeah. Let's see here. Ronald was like, Missy, I like being by myself most times. You can be happy alone. Right? This is what some people assume, that to be happy, you have to be with others. It's not required. Again, you have to feel loved, and you can feel love seeing somebody once a week. You can feel love seeing someone multiple times a day. Doesn't matter. You can feel love by being online. You can. Depends upon how your own emotions. You can feel respected that way. And you can also find purpose being many times by yourself. It's totally possible. So, yeah. I hope that makes sense. All right, let me keep going down here again. And oh, we love you. Thank you. I do try. I do try. I do try. I'm glad you guys care. So yes. Kids says we got your back, Larry. Well, there we go. I like that. Phil says Larry and Missy are in a long-term relationship, and this is how we start rumors. True. Now her boyfriend's gonna be mad at me now. Yes, but it's true. It's true. Missy's been my ride or die for a long time. I think is it 2017, Missy? 9 years, right? Something like that. Yeah. Mike says true. You do more of that to relax. See, I knew he would. I knew he'd get me in trouble. Of course, Mike's gonna yell at me. Yes, of course. Absolutely. All righty. Let's see here. Johnson, a sense of purpose turns meaningless suffering into meaningful sacrifices. Yes. Right? If I'm doing something because I care about it, it matters to me. Now it's meaningful. And I'll sacrifice for it. Right? I do it for my daughters all the time. Right? All the time. I lose time, money, energy, and I don't care. I'm totally happy with it. I'm not complaining. And I recognize that I'm giving up time. I recognize I'm giving up money. I recognize I'm giving energy. And so, yes, and good. And I'll keep doing it and no issues. And we keep going. So yeah, absolutely. I don't mind at all. And I think most people, when they feel that way, yeah. Continue. Larry, Phil and I want to feature in your book. Oh, okay. All right. We gotta start talking. We'll see how that works. We'll see how that works. Maybe. So Missy says, Larry's my big brother from another mother. True. Missy and I have been through some stuff. She's not wrong. We have been through some stuff. That is very true. Her and I have been through some stuff on the phone. Yes, we have. She's not wrong. We've been through some stuff. So absolutely. She goes on to say, Larry really does go to forgiveness, even the most horrible people. Yes. You're right. And Veronica says, my biggest issue is not forgiving myself or others. There's a big piece here, right? And often when I'm talking to people who are feeling terrible about something they've done or their regret or that kind of thing, there's a tactic that I will sometimes use when I'm talking with people. They need this, I say it. And I'll say something like, Bob, whoever you are, hey, Bob, if you need forgiveness, you are forgiven. I forgive you. You are forgiven. And they go, oh, I just said it. I've had people literally break down and cry over this because some people need to be forgiven because they can't forgive themselves. You are right. That is a big issue. And I just sit there and go, I forgive you. You are forgiven. You are human. You made a mistake. I forgive you. And I'm just some dude. I'm some guy. And I announce that I have forgiven them. And they feel like a load is off their back because some guy forgave them. It's true. Your issue is a big issue. You are not alone in this, my friend. Lots of people struggle to forgive themselves and sometimes others. So what I'll use for that is when someone's mad at somebody else and they did this, they did that. I'll say, okay, Andrew, I'm curious. You're mad at D. Is D mad at you? No, she doesn't care. She did this terrible thing. Oh, D did a terrible thing? So she's not mad. No, okay, good. All right. How about this guy over here, Missy? Is Missy mad? No, she doesn't even know what happened. She doesn't know what's happened? Okay, I'm not mad either. No. So the only person who's mad right now is you. Well, yeah. So if you're not mad, nobody's mad. Well, yeah. So if you're not mad, nobody's mad. You could not be mad. Problem solved. Now, I know that sounds silly just to say it that way. But when someone is looking for something and you're having a one-on-one conversation, that can really be very powerful to recognize that, hey, you're the only one who's mad. They don't care. Nobody else cares. If you're not mad, nobody's mad. Nobody's mad. Then I ask something else. Yeah, but, and I get often going to, yeah, but she did. Yeah, but he said. Yeah, but, okay, great. So is your anger changing that? What? Says your anger changing it? Well, no answer because it doesn't, right? Okay, are you now doing something to change this? Well, no. So your anger isn't helpful. Now, your anger may be righteous, but it's not helpful. Are you more concerned with being righteous, or are you more concerned with being helpful? And sometimes people want to be righteous. I wish I always got the right answer on that one. I don't always get the right answer because often I get people still yelling because they're upset. Okay, okay, and I say, okay, you want to be righteous? Stay righteous then. Oh, good. Just understand you being righteous. Oh, good, and we move on. And when I move on, look at any energy. Next time we chat, they often come back and go, I was thinking about what you said about that righteousness thing. That'll happen because I'll give it no more energy. Okay, you want to be righteous? You be righteous. I'm gonna move on, but you're righteous. You got it. You're the most righteous. You win. This is a big issue. D says, I hold grudges. I think I can forget. It's a difference between forgiving and forgetting. Forgiving is going, that person did what they thought was right. That person did what was their best interest. Next time I will do what's in mine. I forgive them. There we go. And it says, I could not have said it better. Not only grudges are unbiblical, but on a physical level, it's toxic. It runs through veins and consumes you. True. Yes, indeed. Yes. Notice it says, yes, leave the original, add the addendum. Okay, now we're going there. All right, look what I've done. Look what I've done. I have opened up okay, there we go. All right. Andrea says, do not pray for easy lives. Pray to be stronger men. I like that one. I like that. It's good. Yes. Craig says, life is what you make of it. Well, yes and no. Some people are born in a better spot. Some people do have more skills or something. I mean, I'm insanely good looking, so that's just my advantage. I'm just saying. So, I mean, you have that. So it depends. I think life can be better depending upon how you act. And that's true. Generally speaking, life is two things. Life is habits and odds. So the better your habits towards your goals, the higher the odds of you achieving your goals. But you could have bad habits and still achieve your goals. And you could have great habits and not achieve your goals. But your odds go up of achieving what you want to achieve if you have better habits. So you are your habits. The more things you're doing, the better things you're doing, that's who you are. You are your habits. So changing, and that's the hardest thing, changing your habits. Changing my habits has been very challenging. It still is. And I know this stuff, and it's hard for me, so it's hard for anybody. But changing your habits increase your odds, and you have a better chance at having a happier or better life. Generally speaking, your outlook will assist you in changing your habits, which will increase your odds. So I think that's a good general rule, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So, all righty. Let me walk down some more of these. I appreciate all of these. There's so many of you guys going back and forth. I do appreciate it. All righty. Let's see here. Okay. Missy brought up. She goes, where do you stand politically? All right. I will do this now because we were talking about something. And I was talking about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But I was also talking about something else. The idea of love, respect, and purpose. Well, if you want to try to talk about respect, there is not a better place than the Advocates for Self-Government. Yes, they are a sponsor of the show. Heading over there. If you would, please click the link that is in the link that is on Rumble, the link that is on Facebook, the link that is on YouTube. Click that specific link, head on over, and then go over to where it says articles. Click the articles, that piece right there. And then once you click the articles, what you're going to see is a search area. In that search area, I want you to put in respect. Because guess what? You'll find stuff on respect. And here's an interesting one. Respect yourself and leave others alone. Look at that. Respect yourself and leave others alone. You can actually read this article. It's not that long. It's about a 9-minute read. When you're done reading this article, do me a favor. At the end of this article, grade it. What you think? When you're done grading it, share it, share it, share it. You know I say share it, so share it. There are so many wonderful articles on the Advocates. Please check them out. Head on over using the link that I just showed you right there. Read this specific article, right? Read this one if you could. And after you're done, grade it and share it. The Advocates for Self-Government. It is all about respect. You can read articles on respect. We want a government that is not about coercion. We want leadership that is not about coercion. We want people around us who are not about coercion. We want a society that's not about coercion. It's about respect. You can find that at theadvocates.org. They're a sponsor of the show. Thank you, Missy. Excuse me. Let me grab some Vasa. All righty. So Missy says, I was all in on Gary Johnson too. Yes, absolutely. Missy says, Larry Sharpe was on purpose in 2018. I hope it still is. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's all good. Lunatic in the house. All centralized systems are what? Failed. Larry, I love you. As a human of what I know, I dislike them more. Accountability held. My hand is justice. You know, there's value to accountability. I'm glad you brought that up. There is. There's value to accountability. And some people would say, no, that's a bad idea. Why would I want accountability? Because now I have to be responsible for something and blah, 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 right? But the value of accountability, Lunatic, is that when you have held yourself accountable for something, whatever that thing is, you will gain self-respect. And generally speaking, the people who you respect will respect you. And that's the key. Most of us don't care about respect from people that we don't care about. Most of us don't. Some people do. We have that issue. Some people need it from everybody. But most people, they want respect from people who they respect. So having accountability, someone goes, yeah, you know what? Lunatic said that, and he did that. He held himself accountable. Respect. So there's value to accountability, even though it can be challenging. But there's the most important piece. Anything that you're proud of, and not just you, Lunatic, anybody who's listening, anything that you're proud of was not easy. If it was easy, you're not proud of it. It's like, yeah, I just did it, right? But if it took you some time or energy, or you went through something, or was challenging, or you wanted to quit, or whatever, that you're proud of. So I think it's a very important piece, accountability. Underrated. That's what I would say. Underrated. So yeah. All righty. Excuse me. Let me grab some more of these if I can. So thank you for that, by the way. All righty. Bronna says, okay, putting it that way, my purpose is helping Dee get Larkin back for part 2. Yeah, that's a good purpose. It's short, but it gets you going. You start thinking about it. You push forward. Yeah, I love the idea. Let's do it, man. I think it was great. I loved it. So yeah, I think that's great. So, all righty. Let's see if I can grab that one. Miss says, I ain't got no boyfriend no more. All right, we got to work on it then. Missy goes, it was 2017. There we go. Yes, it was 2017. So there we go. All right. I think Bruno wants to be your boyfriend. So you might have one after all. Perhaps there's another purpose. Just saying. Perhaps. Could be. Mayhaps. Just saying. So yes. All righty. Let me keep walking down this road if I can. Missy goes on to say, I have people I have no forgiveness for yet. Maybe never, to be honest. My mom's ex-husband. Yes, but how long are you gonna hold that? Right? There's the issue. How long will you hold that? And maybe. So yes. Kintsugi says, Larry, I finally understand why you hate virtue signaling. Because I realize I do it too. I'm trying to stop. The self-righteous piece, not good. Yes. You get it. Virtue signaling, the worst part of virtue signaling is it makes people think you're doing something when you're not, right? It makes people think like you're achieving or you're helping or you're making something happen when you're actually not. So yes, Rona says, can a battered spouse truly forgive their abuser? Can an RAP victim truly forgive their attacker? Can I forgive all the moms who created and perpetrated the scamdemic? I say no. Well, depends. And let me go through all three of those. If you are an abused spouse, particularly if you have children with that person, I think you should forgive them. Now, hear me out. It doesn't mean you forgive them. I'm sorry, it doesn't mean you forget what happened. It doesn't mean you go back to them. It means you just say to yourself, okay, he or she did some terrible things to me. They either physically or mentally abused me. They did what they thought was in their best interest for whatever they thought. They thought that this was going to get them what they wanted. I accept that as true. I accept that they thought it was the right thing and they did it. I'm going to move on with my life. They're forgiven. I'm not going to move back in with them. I'm still going to get divorced if I was married. I'm going to leave them if I was living with them. But yeah, otherwise, how do you survive? I have seen those victims. I'm on YouTube, so I'll say RAPE, victims, forgive their attackers. I have seen them do so. Why? It's the only way they can heal. Otherwise, they can't heal. So they forgive their attacker. Doesn't mean they don't want them to go to jail. Again, it doesn't mean you want them not to go to jail or be punished. You still want that. But you have to move on. And for some people, depending upon what's happened, how it's worked, for some people, the only way they can move on is through forgiveness. Now, some people want some vengeance. And if this happens to you, I'm not mad at you for wanting some vengeance. But then even after the vengeance, you still got to then bury it at one point. At one point, you have to, right? Now, the scamdemic. I brought this up, which is what I said is, I remember it was that terrible guy, Scott Galloway, who said it on Bill Maher's show years ago. He said, you know, what we didn't know, you know, we were wrong and we wanted some grace, right? And to your exact point, I thought, okay, you want grace. All right. Are you saying that you recognize that you should have never done it, that it was wrong of you to do it, you should have never done it, you had no right to do so? Or are you saying, well, if we knew more, then we could wreck your lives? And he was saying, if we knew more, we could wreck your lives. That's hard to forgive. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I would rather forgive them as scared, broken people, but not forget and not let it happen again. I am so angry at the lockdowns and how they wrecked my state, wrecked me personally, trashed my family. They trashed a lot of New York, the whole country, obviously, but I'm in New York, so that's where I felt it. So I'm angry. Of course I am. But I kind of have to forgive them so I can move on, but I'm never going to forget because it never happened again. Not again. So, all right. I hope that at least answered your question at least. All right. Let me, Lunatic has a couple more. $5, Lunatic. I love you all. The soul be marked by is it the sangre? Did I say it right? Of my enemy. I must be free. I will be made free. I will free my fellow brothers and sisters. Okay. Lunatic. Oh, see, now you're going to get Moreno going. See, you guys work together. Anarchy, anarchy, anarchy will never come from asking permission to live. You're right. My only issue is I want to be able to have an environment that when I make the push, it is accepted, right? I don't want to make the push and then the culture says, oh no, we're going to keep you down. I want the culture to say, about time, Lunatic, where you been? I'm trying to work to have that kind of culture. It's slow, obviously, but I'm trying to make that kind of culture to where when this happens, people are like, where you been? About time, Lunatic. Instead of going, he's crazy, get rid of him. I would rather that happen. So that's what I'm trying to achieve. So, all right. Kizigan says, forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean reconciliation, right? Doesn't have to. It depends upon how it has to for you, right? That's the issue. How it happens for you. So, yeah, it does not have to be that at all. No, not at all. It cannot be. And around that, we came for a discussion on life, living pursuit of happiness, and wound up having a group therapy session. Well, it's kind of the same, isn't it? Right? I mean, we all have a life. We get one. Here is one of my life lessons that I learned hard, that I push my daughters and many people I talk to. Obviously, I have regrets in my life, clearly. But my biggest regret, hands down, not even close, my biggest regret in life is not thinking bigger, faster. I wish I had thought big very early in life. Now, I could say, well, Larry, how could you know? Well, yeah, it doesn't matter, right? It's irrelevant. I didn't have an environment when I was a kid growing up thinking big, right? People around me were like, You need more money? Just work another job. That's how they thought. And that's how I thought, right? I'm a poor adopted kid from the Bronx raised by a single mom. Most people like me don't think big because people around us don't think big. So I didn't either. It took me a long time to start thinking big. And I wish I had thought big earlier. That is definitely my biggest regret. I wish I had thought big earlier. I'd be a whole lot further in my life if I had done so. So I teach my daughters that. I tell people that. Think big now. Think big now. So anyway, hope that was good for you. All righty. Let's see here. Went through that one already. To that one. Michael says, sharing is caring in my opinion, but as long as it's done on a voluntary basis. Yes, I agree. Yes. I really think that's important. Yes. I think it should be voluntary. Obviously, you can give your everything as long as it's voluntary. Give it all as long as you're doing it because you think it's the right thing. This goes back to our idea, Michael, about the idea of sacrifice, right? Is it painful or is it sacrifice because it's voluntary? Yes. Moreno says, the only time I'm truly unhappy is when the government grows itself, grows a debt, and restricts our freedom. Well, are you unhappy or are you angry? And there's a difference. You can be happy and still become angry, right? They're not the same at all. Anger, people who are unhappy, people who are happy, both can get angry. What anger is, for those you don't know, it is a perceived lack of control or a perceived lack of respect. That's what it is. When you believe that you are not in control or you believe you're being disrespected or both, you get angry. That's how it works. Now, you can still be happy and feel slighted or be happy and feel out of control for a given moment or thing, right? I'll give you an example. You go to some store and you want to get something changed. Even though something went wrong, if as you're talking, they start going, yes, of course, let me fix it, let me change it, you tend to not be that angry because you're getting respect and you're getting control. You tend to be okay. You may be a little bit annoyed, but you're not really angry because it's working. It's when they go, what are you talking about? Blah, blah, blah. Blow you off, disrespect you. Now you're angry because you feel like I don't have control. So when the government grows itself, you feel like you're not in control because you're not, which makes you angry. Doesn't mean you're not happy. You can be either or both. They're not, they're separate. So yes. Notice it says it. Respect is nice, but disrespect is what I despise. We all do. We all do. Yes, absolutely. We all do. I completely agree. 100%. And that's an important piece. What's going to make us happy and what versus what's going to make us angry? You can be happy overall, but then sometimes you can be angry. Generally speaking, you will get angrier quicker and stay angrier longer if you are unhappy. Why? Because you're already feeling disrespected. You're already feeling unloved. So therefore, you will stay longer, right? And also be faster. But if you're very happy, generally speaking, you will find, if you are happy, you'll find you won't be unhappy as fast, right? That's the issue. So yes. All right, let me grab some more of these if I can. Let's see. Oh, Kinsu, we love you, Lunatic. I love that. Look at that. You're loved, Lunatic. See? It's not just me. It's all of them. So there we go. I love that. All righty. Missy says, I've held anger at my charlatan, fake preacher, pompous, egomaniac mom's chub for 2 years now. Okay, tell us how you really feel, Missy. I don't know why you beat around the bush with that one. Okay, yes. But again, is that eating you or not? Is it helpful or not? That's the question I would ask you, right? Is it helpful or not? If you think it is, I would keep it. If not, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. So anyway, okay, let me see if I can go down here. All right, let's see here. Kinsugi says, Larry, you never started the dating show. Peace, last. Maybe I should do a dating show. Maybe after the election, I'll do a dating show. Maybe I will. It's not a bad idea. Maybe I'll do it. We'll see if that'll work. Maybe I will do a dating show. We'll see. All right. Bruno says they wrecked the planet, Larry. It's true. You're not wrong. It was horrible. It trashed so many things, so many people. You are absolutely, yes, absolutely. So, all right. I agree. That one. All right. Missy says therapy is very much about happiness. you've got to start moving through stuff, right? Let me be very clear about something though. Why do so many therapists fail and why are so many so bad? It's going to sound horrible, but you should know this if you're going to therapy, guys. Most therapists now are what I call affirmation therapists. An affirmation therapist is someone who just makes you feel good. Most people, sadly, don't want to be better. They just want to feel better. There's a big difference. So when someone decides that they want to go to a therapist and the therapist goes, you deserve this, you're amazing, you're great, you're awesome. I feel good. I keep coming to that therapist. The problem is I never get better. And I go to that therapist for the next 25 years. They make lots of money. I never get better. I just feel better. Very lucrative model and very common. A better type of therapist is someone who's actually digging deep and saying what's going on and asking questions like the way I ask about happiness, about love, about respect, about purpose, things like that. How are you feeling? What's going on? That's how people can begin to find their own happiness. But that's not as lucrative because I don't just keep you here. And particularly if you don't want accountability, to his point, if you don't want accountability, why would you go to an actual therapist? Go to affirmation therapist, no accountability. You just feel good. So yeah, there we go. Kintsugi left us. Bye, Kintsugi. Always good. There we go. All right. Bronna says, my biggest regret, which could have been my biggest mistake, I'd have never met the missus or have the kids I have. There we go. I had a chance to go to Alaska and work the pipeline in 1980s. There we go. So maybe this was a good thing. There we go. So Grace says, theology. You are not getting rewards in heaven if the government is forcing you to give. Forcing them to give money is not noble. Jesus will not reward you for taxing Elon Musk. Well, in almost every religion, except maybe, well, no, I think every religion, we have free will, right? You're supposed to love God. If you're from the Abrahamic religions, you're supposed to love God because you love God. You don't want to love God because you're afraid, right? You're supposed to love God. You have an option. You have the option to not love God. It's a choice. You don't have to. You have an option not to, right? If you're from Abrahamic religions, you have the option not to. You're supposed to voluntarily do it. You're totally correct. It's not supposed to be forced. It's supposed to be because you have deemed it the right thing. I think that's what's supposed to be. I agree. Guys, I love that. And what I want to do, if I could, this show's about happiness. And I've talked a lot about happiness. You have a lot about it. I want to bring somebody on who I met a while ago. Actually, I met 2 years ago. Maybe we were connected because of RFK Jr. campaign, believe it or not, is how we started chatting because of that. And he's a gentleman who very often, always smiling, talking about positiveness, trying to push things forward, even when things aren't always great. He's got a great show. He is the man, myth, legend, Adam C. Moreno. How are you, sir?
Hey, Larry. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm really happy to be here. Excited.
You're supposed to be. You have to be. Otherwise, you can't be in the show. You got to be happy. It's true. Yes, it's true.
There we go.
So I got to ask you a question. It's a question that Dee brought up earlier, and I answered it half hour ago. And that is, what are 2 or 3 things that make you happy that you would be hard pressed to not have now?
To not have
people,
right now?
Can be things, can be anything, just 2 or 3 things that make you happy that you would wow, you couldn't imagine not having right now.
Wow. Sorry about that. That was my alarm, making sure I didn't miss this because I think it's important. I don't know if you caught that.
I did. It's critical.
Sorry about that. It is critical. I do think I gotta say my wife first and foremost.
Okay, but you're newlywed, right? You're newlywed still.
Yeah, we've been together for a year and a half.
Look at you.
Married. I meant married. I mean, yeah. But yeah, so we got married in November 2024, and obviously I just can't imagine my life without her.
So give me one good thing. I know there's many, but give me one good thing that you guys do together that you really love. One good thing.
What? I actually just posted this on my community tab on YouTube. I shared why we take Sundays off.
Right. Okay.
Because, we have we operate this show and it's kind of like, a media business, and we talk about the news, and the news is every single day. All
every
right.
day.
Things happen every single day, and it is just absolutely utter chaos most days. So on the topic of happiness, I do think it's really, really important to be able to kind of take a step back. I think Charlie Kirk was also someone who really honored the Sabbath. He believed in the Sabbath, and it's iconic for a lot of reasons. But every Sunday, me and my wife, we are absolutely intentional of just spending time together. We do something. Maybe we go walking. Maybe we go into the city. Maybe we do some. We go out. We have some delicious food. We take my dog out. You know, it's just like it's something that we do that has become a pillar of probably our entire marriage because we're so intentional.
I love that
about it.
You know what's funny? The beautiful. Intentional piece you bring up is critical. Most people don't know this, but for most relationships to do well, there's going to be, you know, ebbs and, you know, flows, of course. But generally speaking, you're supposed to have at least a 3-to-1 ratio of positive to negative. 3 to 1 or more. Right now, hopefully you're having 10-to-1, we hope, right? But if you have less than 3-to-1, your marriage is in trouble. Your relationship, friendship, your anything, your relationship is in trouble. So you being intentional, you are keeping those odds very high, my friend. Nicely done.
Yeah, I love it. You know, I'm actually reading this book right now. It is part of my background. You can see it right there. It's called Think Ahead by Craig Rochelle. And the whole book is essentially about being intentional about who you become. Right. And he has this one line in the book where he's talking, it's the topic of generosity, it's topic of tithing. And he was saying that like tithers plan to tithe. Right. They plan, generous people plan to be generous. And I've just been chewing on that so much. Like, how could I actually decide to plan to become a more generous person? Like right now, you know,
have you read the book by Bill Perkins called Die with Zero?
No, I haven't. But I've heard a lot of good things about it.
I know him personally. He supports my campaign. So yes, I gave his book to my daughter when she was like 18. And the concept's the same. He says, in the magical perfect world, you would die with no money because you will have given out all your money perfectly, right? Once you drop dead, that's the end. Now, of course, you can't know when you're going to die. It's impossible. But his theory is start to do right, help people, give money now. Don't just hoard it all till you drop dead, right? Give it now, help people now as you want. It's the same concept. It's a great book. It's called Die with Zero. I love that.
That's good.
All right. So you gave me your wife and intentional. That's one. You got to give me at least another one, maybe two more.
I think all my answers are probably gonna be people.
Okay.
Right. So I got to say my family. Secondly.
Okay. Do you mean your immediate family, extended family?
I mean I'll put all of them in that category.
Okay.
Right? Like my mom, my dad, my brother, sister, my wife's family, right? Like my cousins. Like I am not who I am today without their impact on my life.
Okay.
Right. Like I love my family. I would die for them. And thirdly, I will put like my friends.
Oh, but hold on. No. I'm letting you off the hook. Not letting you off the hook. So give me one thing again with your family that you would connect to. Same like your wife. What's the one thing for your family? Is it like weddings? Is it Sunday? Is it Christmas? Right? What's the thing?
You know, I love that. You know, we're a Mexican family. Right. So there's a lot of celebrations. And, you know, right now we're planning a graduation celebration for, you know, a member of the family. And it's going to be a moment when a lot of people just come together to celebrate for this moment of celebration. And I think it's going to be beautiful, right? Because we have people from a bunch of different states coming together. And I just love that intention because, you know, some people have to do flights. Some people are traveling across state lines. People are spending it with these gas prices in this economy. You know, there's a lot of intention here.
They're dropping some cash.
And I love it. Right. I love that people are just deciding to be part of this moment because they don't have to be here. You know, it's a graduation. It's not anything crazy. It's not a wedding.
They can make an excuse. Oh, I'm tired. I got to work or whatever.
I got to do something. You know, people are busy these days. I understand. But choosing to set time apart to actually spend time with family, I just think it's beautiful. So I
give
love
me the
doing that.
friends.
Well, I also think that friends are essentially the family that we choose, right? Because you can't choose
Okay.
your family,
Right.
all right? You can't choose them, love them or hate them or just tolerate them. You have to, but the
Sometimes all three.
friends, exactly. But the friends are the family that you choose, right? I feel
Right.
like these are my tribes, right? And yeah, I love my friends.
So
My
what's the
friends tell
one
me how to
thing that where your
thrive.
friends get together? How's that? Give me one of those.
So we've had moment. We pretty much have trips now,
Okay.
right? Because we're getting older. I'm 27 now. It's kind of hard to
Old ass
believe.
man. Oh my
I
God. You're
I
ancient.
know.
Can you
Telling
still
you.
walk? Or you need a cane. You need a cane, right?
I'm thinking about installing one of those things on the stairs that
Yes, you
like
need
it
one of
doesn't
those.
take you up.
You do. Yep.
That's
Yep.
what I need.
Yep.
But I've known all my friends since I was like in middle school. Right. So one of
Mm.
my best friends now is like, my neighbor growing up. Right. So we've always known I've known him since I was like what, 6, 8. And
Mm.
so now as we're getting older, he was always a little bit older than me, maybe like 4 or so years. So I'm 27, he's past 30 now. So it's a lot harder for us to actually be intentional about those moments. Whenever I was in my early 20s, like we would just be able to kind of throw a text and it's like, hey, we're going. And it's like, all right, let's go. We
Right.
don't even know where we're going, but it's
Right.
like
Right. Right.
we're
Right. Right.
going. Now it's a little bit difficult because many of us are married, some of us have
Family.
children, right?
Business.
So our priorities are different. So it does. The theme here is intention,
Yep.
right? So it's like now we're a little bit more intentional about how we plan things. So a couple years back, it was actually during the election of 2024, whenever we went to Yosemite. Right, we were there
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of days, and it was just beautiful. Got to be in the outdoors. We rented a beautiful Airbnb, and so those moments are just incredible, right? Sometimes we go to Yosemite, sometimes we'll go to, just a beautiful place like Las Vegas, right? And
Sure.
we just hang
Sure.
out, or we go to LA, or we go to Disneyland, right?
Right.
And it's just awesome. So those moments with my friends, I just wouldn't trade it for the world. It's awesome.
That's great. I'm thinking about one of my buddies. My oldest friend is from when I was like 12 or something like that, and we're still buddies. And I'm a little older than you, so him and I have been friends for like 45 years. Now you
Wow.
know how old I am.
That's good.
So yes, we've been friends for a long time, and he's retiring soon. He's doing early retirement, and I'm doing this. I should have picked his lifestyle. What was I thinking? I should
Oh
have picked his
man.
lifestyle. He's going to be chilling out, and I'm going to be still working. But yeah. So, and you know what? You're making me realize something. I am not intentional enough with him. I'm not. We have a thing we
Yeah,
do. And the thing that we do is we always remember each other's birthdays. We do it every year. So he will somehow reach out to me on my birthday. I'll reach out to him on his birthday. So we always remember birthdays. But
sure.
that's nice, but it's not as intentional as it should be. I think
Yeah,
we can do better. So you know what?
absolutely.
Because of that. So if my friend and I get together, it'll be because of you, Adam. Look at you, what you've done. You have helped
There we
us out.
go.
You have helped
I,
us
I- I'm
out.
I'm telling you, I think for everyone watching, like you do become who you plan to be, right? You
Mm.
have to become that person. I'm working out now. It didn't always work out, and now I'm being way more intentional about the food that I consume, the work
Yep.
that I put in every single day to this body. And it's like all that happens through intention. And it's like it takes so much time, it takes so much work. I have these apps that help me be intentional about everything.
Yep.
And but it's like if you're successful, it's gonna take you 10,000 hours of doing whatever it
It's
is,
10 years,
right?
brother.
And
10
you gotta
years.
and all that takes intention. All that takes
Yes.
time. So I love it.
It's funny that you say that. I've been keto now for 16 years.
Mm,
And for most people, keto is unsustainable. It has about a
sure.
67 to 70% failure rate. Only about
Wow.
30% of people can actually hold it. And I think your point is right. I had to be very intentional for about a decade before it became just so natural. Like I don't miss anything anymore. Like
Sure.
I don't even miss, like I don't miss bread anymore. I used to, I don't anymore.
Sure.
I don't miss rice. I don't miss carbs at all. If I never had a carb again in my
Wow.
life, I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I don't miss it anymore. But to your point, it took years of me
Mhm.
moving through that and being intentional to be able to be at that level where, if I never have a carb again, who cares? And I used to love carbs, and now I don't eat any of them. Yeah, you're totally right. I completely get it. But now you make me be more intentional. I used to have, those wearables?
Yeah.
I used to have a Whoop. Do you know what a Whoop? Oh, you have one. There we go. Yes. I used to have a Whoop. Do you know what a Whoop is?
Of course.
Yeah, I used to have, and the reason why I got a Whoop is,
it is.
I didn't want to be able to look at it because I thought it would be distracting.
Sure.
So for those who don't know, a Whoop is a wearable, like when I watch it, like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like the Apple Watch, that kind of thing. But you can only see what's happening by going on your phone. You can't just look, right? And I wanted that because I didn't want to constantly be looking. Oh, am I doing this? I didn't want to be distracted. I want to be able to work clearly. So, but having it on my arm made me think about, I got to be intentional. It was very good. So I'm thinking about getting it back. I got rid of it because I felt like I was doing the things enough and my habits had been broken, right? So I was doing the right thing and it needed anymore. But now you make me think maybe I should do it again. All right.
There we go.
All right. You were making me do stuff, Adam. You give me homework and all these things. What is up with this?
Isn't that
all
great?
Right. Let me do some, I got some comments here I want to bring up here if I can. Missy says, eating with intention is a great idea. Yes. Absolutely true. Yes. D says, learning that at Adam's age, intention with food as an example is great. Some people don't figure it out until they have health issues that forces change. She's not wrong. I was very lucky. I started thinking about my health in my 30s and I got serious when I was like 40.
Wow.
So it was young enough, but I could have been younger. And the problem for me was when I was young, I was a Marine.
Yeah.
So I was very active. I could eat whatever I wanted. Who cares? I was still thin in good shape because I was an active Marine. I didn't care. And I thought that would never change. Boy, was that wrong, right? But I went from being a very active Marine where young, I could eat whatever I wanted, stay thin, it was totally fine, to being a teacher. And eating the same garbage as a Marine. That did not work. You could not do that. And I learned that the hard way. So so I didn't really get myself together probably until I think, believe that was my kids that made me think about getting my life together. Because I think when it was just me and their mom, it was much more like, whatever, we're fine, we'll be okay, right? But then when the kids came out, I was like, no, I better not drop dead tomorrow. Like, I better keep going, right? I better increase my odds. I think that's what happened. So, yeah, I think that's an issue. Okay, we got some people not messing with your age. Shelly says, my sister was 27 40 years ago.
I love it.
Ronna says, my youngest will be 31 this year. Missy says, 27 was decades ago. Shelly says, my youngest will be 32 this year. So a lot of people messing with your age, my friend. Ronna says, a lifetime ago. So, yeah.
You know what I love about that, though?
Go ahead.
I think, I mean, because whenever I was growing up in church, I grew up in church. Good life advice, guys. Stay in church. People say stay in school. I don't know if staying in school is that good for people anymore.
I agree with you. Right. If I have a choice of school or church, I'm going to take church.
Go to church. All right.
But
even whenever I was in church, grew up in church, and whenever I was like just a youth, I wanted to do more. Like just at a higher level, I wanted to do more. I wanted to contribute more. Right. I wanted to have like a role or something, any sort of responsibility, anything. I was desperate for anything. But even then, people were telling me that I was too young. Right. It's like, I'll just be, you're just too young. You don't have to do that. Or whenever I was in, high school and I wanted to be part of ASB, right. The student government, it's like, you're a little young. Right. And even whenever there was just so many moments where people were constantly telling me that I was just a little too young or a little too unqualified or just not there yet. But at the end of the day, like no one knows when our last day is going to be. No one knows the impact that we're going to have. Like, people thought Charlie Kirk was going to be president. I have no doubt he would have, but something horrific ended up happening. Jesus's impact on this planet was truly formed in 3 years of his ministry, right from 30 to 33. And it's like, we don't know how much time we're going to have. So we need to live every single day with this inattention that is just good. Like, it should be profound. You should be on some journey. You should work hard. You shouldn't work as if
you should have purpose.
1,000 other things Exactly. You should have a why.
Yes.
You should be able to move
Yes.
forward.
Isn't
And
that what Simon
so
Sinek's book was? Start with why.
start with why. So good. I love it. I love
Yes.
that guy. He's great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's
So
funny you say that because I'm. You don't have children yet, right?
not yet.
So people often ask me, they say, Larry, why do your daughters not rebel against you? Right? Why don't they? Well, it's true. Most kids rebel. My kids don't rebel at all.
That's good.
Why not? Because I give them nothing to rebel against.
Mm.
You know, people think that parenting is very hard. It is, but it isn't. If you can understand two things, and these two things are tough to get, but if you get these two things, parenting is easy. If you get these two tough things, piece number one, your kids are not now and never will be you.
Mm.
Boy, is that hard to get as a parent. They are not now and never will be you. No matter what you do, they will not be you. They will be themselves. And you cannot make them you. They are not you. Do not live your life through them. They are not you. Do not live vicariously through them. They are not you.
That's
if
good.
You get that piece, number one. Number two, you cannot control or protect them. You cannot. It is impossible.
Tough pills to swallow.
Yes, they are both very tough pills, but that's what makes shitty parents. Is parents who think they're going to live their life through their kids, or parents who think they can control and or protect their kids. You can't. It is impossible. So what can you do as a parent? One thing. Be the right role model for them. Critical aspect.
Good.
Be the right role model for your children, which that's the hardest part. You have to be a good person because kids don't do what you say. Kids do what you do.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want.
1000%.
They do not do what you say. They do what you do.
Exactly.
So if you can get those two things, parenting's not so hard.
It's iconic.
If you do it.
It's great advice. You know,
Yes.
I say this all the time, like humans are very, very simple creatures, right? Like monkey see and monkey do. Like they're just so real, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, Nosy says it. Teach them to make good decisions. Yes. Right? Craig says it. Love them and be a good example. Yes. Missy says it. My parents were controlling, so I went crazy when I got on my own. All the time. Every time you see a kid who goes out and goes nuts, their parents were controlling. Every time. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Neither of my girls are boy crazy, and they both live at home with me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some creators that I follow, their names are Colin and Samir. Their house burnt down in the Palisades fire. Well, both of these guys, they both had two separate houses in the Palisades fire. They're both about to have children, right? Their wives were pregnant. They had just moved into these homes, both in the same neighborhood, and both of their houses burned to ashes. Wow. And Samir Chaudhry, like a week or so after it happened, he went on CNN because, you know, CNN was just there broadcasting and he was just there, you know, looking at the remnants of what was. And one of the hosts asked him, like, how do you feel? I heard you just had a baby. And he was like, he said that the only world that my kids will know is the world that I show them.
Yep.
So they will never know this heartbreak. They will never know this loss. They will never know these ashes because I just won't show it to them. So I think a lot about the future that we create for these young people, these young babies. And I just thought that moment was so profound. And, you know, even now to this day, like, obviously, you know, that what's happened in the Palisades is still a tragedy. And, you know, this guy is still living in an Airbnb. I don't think there's a single home that was rebuilt. Yeah, there might be one show home that's rebuilt, but everything else is just completely horrific. And, but I love that posture. You know, even a couple of days ago, he recently said that after my house burned down, I learned that there are problems and there are inconveniences.
Yep.
Like a problem is like something with your health. You know, problem is, you know, something catastrophic happening. A house burning down, mind you, it is on the upper end of an inconvenience, but it is an inconvenience nonetheless. Whenever I held my baby boy in my hands, I know, man, nothing else matters.
That,
Right. Like
you
this.
say that, you're so right. When I look at, what I've try to show my children is bad stuff's going to happen. How you going to act? Right. That's the issue. How you going to act? You're going to have bad stuff. How you going to act? Are you going to stress and get angry and scream and yell? Or are you going to get stuff done? Right. Are you going to move forward? What's the next step? How do you fix this? And I think that's one of the reasons my oldest daughter's an EMT. Right.
Wow.
I think that's her mindset. Like, things go bad, I got to fix it. Right. Let's go fix things. I think she still thinks that's this day. So that's how they get past things. So Danny says, been in the same job for 8 years total and haven't been able to grow. When stagnation hits like that, it becomes very difficult to keep going. True. You're absolutely right. Danny, do me a favor. Reach out to me. We're friends on Twitter, I think. Reach out to me and let's have a conversation. I can walk you through some stuff that may make things a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, it's just tough. Stagnation's tough. And Adam, I'm sure you deal with it, right? Stagnation is actually, sadly, it becomes a habit, right? I do the thing because I do the thing, whatever that thing is, right? And it becomes a custom, and it becomes very challenging to make that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've had that happen to you, right?
Yeah, I think a lot about something that comes to mind with like stagnation is recently I wrote in my notebook, grow or die. Like grow or die. I have a very like business mindset, but I do think it's true in life. Like when you reach a point of unsatisfaction or like a peak unsatisfaction, you have to make a choice. And I do think if you've reached the point when your unsatisfaction is almost so unbearable that you cannot move on, then you can't keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, you will never change unless you change. You have to change. You have to be so disgusted by who you are in the mirror and decide to create a new future, create a new reality, develop new habits, go and do something new, become someone new. One of my favorite movies is actually, it's one of the Steve Jobs movies. It's either Steve Jobs or Jobs, this with the,
Okay. Yeah.
And I think it's the one with the guy who played Magneto. I don't know his name.
Okay.
But it's that guy.
Yeah.
And
Is it that's the one Fassbender.
Something like that.
That's his last name. Yes. Good.
That's
a good
okay.
German name.
Exactly.
Fassbender. Good German name. By the way, I think he's Austrian or German. He speaks German, actually. The actor actually speaks German. He was in Inglourious Bastards and spoke German in it. Yeah, same actor. Yes.
So there's one moment that I thought was absolutely insane, and it's whenever Steve Wozniak is talking to him, who's played by Seth Rogen, and he said, this had such an impact on me. Steve Wozniak's character said, I know that who you are is a character that you invented. Right. And he was kind of trying to dismiss him. He was trying to throw a jab, right? That you aren't this person, you invented this person. But whenever I heard that, I kid you not, it blew my mind. And I was like, who do I need to invent to become the person that I need to become? And it's not a bad thing. You could invent yourself. You could create a new future for yourself. Because I promise you, like, the reality that I'm living today is a direct result of the choices that I made in the past.
Absolutely.
And who I become in the future is going to be a direct reflection of the choice that I make right now. And that's not a bad thing. That's a beautiful thing, right? That's a beautiful thing. That is a gift. Like,
I always say this, that the glory that we have as being humans is we get to decide the value of our lives.
So good.
Animals don't get to decide that. Yes, the glory of being a human being is you get to decide the value of your life.
Wow.
That's the glory. Every other animal doesn't get to do that. We're the only ones who can.
And every other animal is also not burdened by that either. One of my books back here is by Ornick Manis. He says, I just don't think a giraffe ever wakes up one day and they're like, oh, I gotta be an elephant. I should go be an elephant. Like, no, like bees create honey.
Yep.
And humans create futures. That's what he says. Bees create honey. I think
it's correct.
And humans create futures. Humans are the only people who can.
D says, this is his YouTube. It is youtube.com at Adam C. Moreno. By the way, that is in the show description if you want to follow him there. Craig says, very impressive young man. Subscribe to YouTube. Looking forward to it. There we go. You can also follow him on X at Adam C. Moreno if you want to do that also. So, yes, a lot of people are saying, yes, they like it. D says, Adam was one of the podcasts that interviewed Larry right when he announced for New York governor. True. He was good to me. He was absolutely good to me. Absolutely. So a lot of people are out there. I do appreciate you coming out, Adam. Any last words before I let you go?
Thank you for being here. I love what you do, and I think you're a really good person. Truly.
Thank you,
and
my friend.
I love every
that.
conversation that we have together.
We have some good ones, that's for sure. All right, brother. I will let you go. Guys, follow Adam. Good talking to you, my friend.
All right, see you guys. Have a good one.
We had the one and only Adam C. Moreno there. Please, guys, follow him if you would. You can see all of his goodies are in the description on both Facebook and also YouTube and Rumble. He has interviewed me more than once. He's a guy who is trying to make things, he's trying to make positiveness in a world that can be very challenging. As you can see, it can be very challenging. So follow him, give him a follow. It does matter, and watch what he's doing. Guys, I want to say I appreciate all the time you give me. And what I haven't asked you yet, please click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. That is an important button to click. If you don't click it, people aren't going to recognize how awesome this show is. And that will be your fault, and I will blame you. I'm kidding. I will not blame you. But anyway, you should do so. If you haven't shared this someplace, you should. Please share it. If you're not subscribed to this channel, please subscribe to this channel. It does matter if you've not done so. Whatever you're watching on, please subscribe. As you know, I'm trying to grow this to the best of my ability. It really does matter. Every little bit does count. So I do appreciate that. Shelly says, I taught my kids that bad words are the ones used to hurt people. I didn't give them a list. Oh, I like that. That's a nice one. I like that one. That is amazing. Yes. Phil says, I couldn't imagine losing everything. Family, history, comfort, security. Well, I'll give you an example in my own life. For those of you who know, my mom was an addict, and my mom was also a felon. And when I went up to the Marine Corps, she couldn't handle it, and her life got very bad, and she lost everything. I lost my childhood. I lost everything. I lost my family home. I lost any institutional wealth I was going to have for my family, all gone. When I came back to help my mom out, she came out, I pulled her out of prison, and she only had two things. She had 2 garbage bags, and that was her entire life. So I had to use my savings that I had as a Marine to get her rebuilt, to get her a little studio apartment, to get her a car. She can get her life going. So we started from nothing all over again. And it is challenging, but it did make us both stronger. That's what I would say. And my mom was clean till the day she died. So that was amazing. That was pretty cool. All righty, guys. I am so happy you enjoyed. Adam, I have another special gift for you today. A gift, Larry. Yes, I know. I am full of gifts today. Before I go there, though, I do have one more thing I want to talk about gifts. Johnson, thank you so much for the gifted memberships. 5 of them, guys. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. That's amazing. Lunatic, thank you for the membership. We have to break the programming against cooperation. Oh, program against cooperation. It's tied rhetorically to capitalism. Anarchy works with mutual cooperation, but no FAFO. Well, I think you're right. We've been taught that capitalism is selfishness and that government is love and cooperation. And that's obviously false. Lunatic is correct. The reality of it is falling back to government and having people vote to do things that you wouldn't normally do yourself is not cooperation. It's not helpful. It is selfish. In reality, mutual cooperation is the way of doing things. He's absolutely correct. Thank you for that. He also goes on to say, every small success makes me happy because it came from 50 failures that made me emotionally unstable. Okay, don't be unstable, but I appreciate that. Yes, it's true. This is, there's an old saying in business. It took him 10 years to become an overnight success. You get that logic in that one, right? It took him 10 years to become an overnight success because no one heard of him until it became successful. But yes, it put 10 years behind it before that was going to happen. So I appreciate that. Anyway, I have yapped away. I appreciate the people who are popping on. I want to bring on someone who I think is going to give us some positive, warm, and fuzzy feelings. She is someone who is an activist in the liberty movement, just came back from the LP, so I'm sorry about that. But that's okay. She will give us something if she can. The one and only Amity Dolby. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, Larry. How are you?
I am happy to have you here. What is going on?
Oh, well, Free and I just got back from the Libertarian National Convention.
I'm sorry.
Oh, we had a
I'm
blast.
kidding. I'm kidding. I told you. But I love the shirt you're wearing. You are
I'm
wearing a Larry
my
Sharpe
Larry
shirt.
Sharpe shirt. Yeah.
Yes, there we go. I love that. I appreciate
That's
that.
right.
So I
Yeah.
have to ask you the question that I asked Adam. This is asked by D. You have to tell me now 2 or 3 things, you pick, that make you very happy now that you would have trouble kind of imagining not having them right now. What are 2 or 3 things that make you happy right now?
Oh, that's easy. I would say
Okay.
my faith.
Your faith. Okay.
My faith. And my
So
family.
hold on. Let me go to
Okay.
faith. Faith, give me one thing regarding your faith that you do or feel or act that gives you some of that happiness.
So I'm Catholic, and we have an online rosary space, and there's hundreds of us that join each other almost every night.
Wow.
I'm kind of slacking these days because I have a lot going on with the travel, with the different state conventions and everything, and then national convention. But as many nights as I possibly can, we all gather on X, and I co-host sometimes a rosary space, and it just brings peace and camaraderie with other Catholics, and we pray for each other and with each other, and yeah, it's great. So that brings me a lot of happiness.
That's wonderful. Okay, faith is one. Give me another one.
Family. So
do you mean close family, extended family, mix? What do you mean?
I don't have a huge extended family, but
okay.
Free and my kids and my mom and my sister. It's funny. A lot of people confuse happiness with comfort.
Oh, yes.
And I think, a lot of things that bring me happiness in life came with challenges.
Yes.
Raising kids was hard. I have helped my daughter raise my granddaughter.
Sure.
I helped with my elderly parents. My mom has dementia. My dad went through a battle with cancer, and they lived with me for quite some time. And so there's challenges, but it's so rewarding. And
well, it's purpose.
So it's purpose, exactly. And so I think when you can find purpose in the things that you do in life, that can bring you happiness even when there's challenges.
Absolutely. So let me, if I could, you mentioned the idea that you have a smaller family, right? And so kids, grandkids in this case, also parents. So you've been sandwiched, right? Which is definitely challenging. But even with that challenge, you saw it not as punishment, but you saw it as a glorious sacrifice, right?
Absolutely. I mean, at one point, before I moved down to Florida, my sister took over, and now my mom lives with my sister. But for 8 years, I had 4 generations living in my household that I was responsible for.
You just told me you have a small family, but you got 4 generations in one house?
I did. I had my mom, myself, my daughter, and my granddaughter. Yeah.
Wow. I love that. Okay, great.
Yep.
So give me one thing specifically that you really enjoy about your family. That you do now.
It's that I do now.
Now.
Well, now it's just the later years. I call it my act 2.
Okay.
Because my kids are grown. They're doing well. My daughter's on one coast and my son's in Colorado. And so I think one of the things is, when Free and I can go and visit with them across the country. Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great. So it becomes a special journey.
It does.
Nice. Sure. Oh, that's great.
And I get to live in paradise in between.
There we go. So that's 2. Give me one more.
Oh, let's see. Probably, I would say my activism, because I try to, I combine my faith and my political ideals into my activism. And one thing that I like to, I guess, preach is the consistent ethic of life, which kind of, it gets into where, all human life has dignity. And so from the womb to the tomb, human life should be respected and regarded. And, so that includes pro-life activism. anti-war activism, activism for end of life care for the elderly and letting them die with dignity. And so, yeah, that brings me a lot of happiness.
So that's a lot of purpose you have. I love that. That's amazing. It's a lot of purpose. I would say happiness is those three things. It's love, respect, and purpose. And you have all three.
Yeah, I think if we didn't have purpose in life, then, life can get boring and you can get complacent. And, I think the main thing is realizing that you don't live on an island. There's this whole humanity out there. And, if we can foster these things with each other, then, it just,
well, the thing you brought up here, and I'm going to touch two pieces if I could. One of them is, in all three things you told me, they were all about other people. Right? So you've created communities around yourself to create this happiness. I was bringing up the idea of happiness versus pleasure, right? Pleasure is usually individual. I drink, I get drunk, or I take a substance, or I watch a TV show, or I play a video game, right? I get a short burst of pleasure, which is not a bad thing. I mean, people enjoy pleasure, obviously, right? But if I'm constantly looking for those short bursts of pleasure, I'm probably not happy. And the happier I am, the less I look for those short bursts of pleasure. In fact, those short bursts of pleasure, to your earlier point, are often very comfortable. It's comfortable to sit in front of a TV show and watch Netflix for 10 hours. It's comfortable to smoke weed for 6 hours. It's comfortable to, I don't know, eat all day long, right? And not exercise. It's comfortable. So it gives you pleasure, but it doesn't give you happiness. And I think the happier you are, the less you seek pleasure. Am I wrong here?
Oh, no, I think you're totally right. And, one of the things that I think people find or look for pleasure in these days is our technology. And, if
swiping on that phone.
Yeah. Sitting in front of your phone all day and, finding, for the likes and the hits and the, like today I had this, I tried to break the internet with a really stupid meme and Rand Paul commented on it. And so my temporary pleasure was, oh my gosh, Rand Paul commented on my meme, which was, but then that goes away. Like that's not part of my community. Correct. That's just this temporary, dopamine hit, I guess you would say.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
A lot of people look for that. And I try to remember that that's not real life. And while there are people that we meet online that we, find, in real life, such as like at the national convention that we just went to, we met some great friends that we met online, but we have to foster those happy moments in real life, or I think we just get bogged down with just scrolling away and doom scrolling or what have you.
And then the other part, I think, which is very challenging, which is what Adam was talking about earlier. He was talking about being intentional, like intentionally trying to meet people, intentionally trying to do things, right? Trying to start doing things, because otherwise it's very easy for us, to your point, just scroll all day. And before you know it, I'm no longer meeting people. I'm no longer going out anymore. I'm no longer going to my church group anymore. I'm not going to see my kids because I'm doing this all day, right? So I think you can find it really, I agree completely with what you're saying. I think that's absolutely true.
I mean, one thing that Free and I try to do every once in a while is, on the weekends, we've got a place down the street from us that has live music, and we try to just go out dancing, and our community is so small that when we go to those places, we actually meet real people, and it'll always end up coming up with philosophical discussions behind politics or whatever, and then we meet our tribe in real life. And one thing that Evan McMahon, our new chair of the Libertarian Party, suggested after he was elected is go out and find 5 new libertarians. Just by talking to people in the community, you'll realize that there's people out there that are like-minded, that, have the same philosophies that we do, that want smaller government, that want, don't want people, our government bombing kids across the world, and want our families to thrive. And so community involvement is absolutely important for sure.
Absolutely. Some guy named Free says, 100 points to Amity. She's dreamy and smart. Who's this guy?
Oh, that's sweet. And he's actually doing his live show right now. So
Nice.
I'm happy that he was able to come in and jump in
There
the
we
chat.
go. Well, you have some friends here. Ryan says, hey, Amity, fellow Catholic here as well.
Cool.
There we go.
Hey, Ryan.
There we go. So there we go. We have some people welcoming you. Andrew says, multi-generational housing is growing in America, the new norm. Yes, but for the wrong reason, Andrew.
Because it's too expensive.
Correct. Andrew's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And it's fine. I mean, it really brought us closer together. I mean, I became closer to my mom than I ever was as a teen. I mean, we got along great, you know, when I was growing up, but you know, that togetherness and, you know, letting my daughter and my granddaughter stay with me while my daughter finished school, you know, there's something to be said about that, but it is for the wrong reasons. When I was 18, you know, I was able to go out on my own. I had no problem affording housing. You know, I was a homeowner at 21. It's just not affordable for kids these days. I have a millennial and a Gen Z, and you know, just to see them struggle with the economy the way it is.
I have a 22-year-old and a 16-year-old, and my 20-year-old, she's like, Dad, I'm staying with you until I get married. I'm like, okay, I don't mind. My sister was like, I'm staying with you. So, okay, I don't mind. Look, I'm a dad. I'm not mad. I got my kids with me. I'm not mad. But I'm just saying, but I don't think they're doing it because they love me. I'm sure they love me, but I think they're doing it because they can't afford it, which I'm not mad at them. So yeah, but he's correct, but it's the wrong reason. I think, you know, this is my view. I think that society, to include technology, is tearing us apart. We see it everywhere. It's making it harder and harder to make relationships than it's ever been. It's harder to do so. And because of that, we all think we need to live alone. We all think we have to be, you know, the top dog and have the coolest this and the coolest that. We all think that. And because of that, we're not raising our families well. I don't know if you know this, but right now in America, if you actually have your birth mom and birth dad in your house with you till you're 18, you are now officially a minority.
Wow.
It is no longer the norm. The norm is you will have only one birth parent in your household, usually the mom, about 80% is the mom, but it's sometimes the dad, but usually the mom. And that's how it is now. Now you might go, but Larry, to the earlier point, you'll hear many people who are more conservative will say, well, the best way to raise children is a nuclear family. I don't think it goes far enough. I think the best way is the extended family. I think when you have grandma, uncle, aunt, cousin, I think that's the best way to raise children. I think the clan is the normal way of humans existing. I think the clan I think that's how you get a respect for life, because you actually see life in your household. You see it come in and you see it go away. I think you see both. You see it struggle, you see it thrive, because your family is going to go through ups and downs. People are going to get sick. People are going to get better. People are going to succeed. People are going to fail. I think you see all of that stuff happening. And I think we've lost that. So I am happy we're becoming multi-generational. I just wish it was a better reason.
Absolutely. And, you know, I mean, there's all around the world, there's different, I guess, like different countries where that is the norm. And it's always been the norm from the beginning of time.
Yes.
So I think it's just something that we maybe fell away from in the last few hundred years, that
absolutely
we're realizing, even though it's for the wrong reasons, for economic reasons, that people are realizing that, you know, it's really rewarding.
Yeah. Let me grab a couple of super chats if I could. I got to put a couple people doing this here. Lunatic says, thank you for $2. Purpose is the drive to take another step and breath. True. It's what keeps us going. Purpose is your compass. Direction change, adapt. Yes. In fact, purpose allows you to go off track and come back on, right? Because life will very often throw all kind of stuff in your way, and you can't do what you thought you were going to do. If you have purpose, you can keep going. So yes, thank you for that, Lunatic. And Phil says 100 points to Amy. Also, and free Emily, for being too young for grandkids. You're too young for grandkids. So there we go.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Here we go. Yes. Bronna says, I get a quick fix when Larry addresses my comments, last questions. Through that process, even though a temporary high, I think I've made some long-term connections, win-win. Oh, I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Reminder, folks, clan with a C. Correct. That is the correct clan with a C. That is correct. Yes. So, but I want to move to the next piece you brought, which is this idea, which is fairly new, which is the culture of life you speak about. And if you go back maybe, I don't know, 30, 40 years, I'm just about, a lot of people who were pro-life, I'm being very forward, they were jerks. They were angry, they were mad, they were pointing a finger, they were insulting. I think that's changed for the better. Like, I'm happy this change has happened. But I just had someone I was talking to here in Queens when I was running for office. He said almost the exact same thing you said. He was like, I live in a culture of life in every aspect. And I was like, oh, that's becoming more and more of a way of speaking that I didn't see, I don't know, in the 80s, maybe, right? Maybe in that, I think it's changed. I think for the better. Am I wrong here?
I think you're right. I think a lot of people are realizing that valuing life doesn't just mean a baby in the womb. It means finding resources for a mother who might feel like she doesn't have any hope in this situation. It means not wanting to, throw bombs on kids across the globe.
True.
It means that there are alternatives like rehabilitation for people who used to just be throwaways.
True.
Which means we think about, the criminal justice system and victimless crimes, where families are torn apart because someone gets thrown in jail for their life for, having too much weed in their pocket.
True.
And then even still, people who are on death row, in Florida alone in the last 40 years, I believe something like, I don't remember the statistic, but 40-50% have been exonerated from death row. And so innocent people are dying.
Yes, I remember.
And so we have, alternatives. It's actually cheaper to the taxpayer to keep them alive for life than to put them through everything that goes on with having someone on death row. So we can preserve life that way as well, not only for people who are guilty and deserve to be in jail for the rest of their lives, but people who didn't get a fair trial and may have the opportunity to be exonerated later on.
I love it. And we can give them purpose.
Yeah. And we have, go ahead.
Brian says, purpose makes me think of Mr. Smith in The Matrix. I used to use that clip often. And so I actually have it prepared just so we have that clip so you can see it.
We're not
Hold on.
Because we're free. We're here because we're not free.
Because we're not free.
Escaping reason, no denying purpose. Because as we both know, without purpose, we would not exist.
It is purpose that created us. Purpose that connects us. Purpose that pulls us, that guides us, that drives us. It is purpose that defines. Purpose that binds us.
There we go. That was for you. That was for you, Ryan. Thought you'd enjoy that. So there we go. So yes. So I think that this idea of having purpose is a critical aspect. And you seem to have it in so many things you do, right? You seem to have it in so many things that you do. I do appreciate that tremendously. So yes. Brona says, I have too much weed in my pocket, but I know how to remedy that. Well, you can definitely remedy it. It's true. I didn't know you had too much, but I guess that will help you, I guess, if that makes any sense. So there we go. D says, follow Amity on X at Amity Lee 13. Yes, you can follow that. Absolutely. There we go. You also won Bronner at anti-war activism. Look at that. You are winning. You are winning everywhere you go. I love that. So if I move on to this next piece, though, you're talking about the idea of having this idea, culture of life. This goes back to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. I talked about that in the beginning of the show. I brought this up. And the idea that life has value. In 1776, life, I think it was 75. Whenever that, I think it was 75 when they wrote that. The idea that every life has value, that was an odd thing. In other words, many people thought life had value if you were the right kind of person, right? Meaning you're of whatever the elite class of the day is, then you're valuable. if you're not of the elite class, you're expendable, right? We put you in the army, or we put you in the fields, or we put you in whatever. You're not valuable. So that's a critical aspect. And the idea of liberty, I think, also was a key piece. And some people thought, I don't know if you heard a story, originally it was going to be life, liberty, and property. That was the original. And then they stopped it. And they said, no, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the reason is you can't guarantee people property, right? You can't. And not just that, for some people, property, not that important. Depends on a person. And in those days, much of the clergy, as you know, being Catholic, couldn't own property.
Right.
Right. So in that case, you couldn't have property if you weren't part of the clergy. The church had to own it. So you could only pursue something else, which would be happiness. So I like the idea of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. And what I would argue is the vast majority of people in politics to this day never talk about it.
No. And one thing, since we're talking about people in politics, it's the pursuit of happiness. Government will guarantee the pursuit of happiness, but they don't guarantee happiness.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people are looking in the wrong direction for happiness. They're looking to the government to provide things that they think will make them happier, but the government gives us the liberty to pursue on our own. And so I think we need to look to our faith communities, our families, our the people around us to help with that happiness instead of relying on the government to provide that happiness, because that's not what they're there for.
If we just had one more law, like just one more law, then we'd find that happiness. Just one more law, just one more, and then we'd be set. No, I always say this, right? What people don't understand is when someone has a problem, whatever that problem is, a physical problem, financial problem, addiction problem, a mental problem, family problem, whatever the problem is, the first thing they need is not a program or money or a doctor. They might need that. But the first thing they need is someone who cares.
Absolutely.
That's the first thing. Once you have someone who cares, then they can figure out, okay, great. We need a program, or we need money, or we need a doctor, or whatever, right? Whatever is the thing we need. Okay, but I need someone who cares. Government cannot care. Government can check a box. It's very good at checking boxes, and it will check a box, but that's not care. It takes community to care. When a community cares, then they can then find the answer to whatever the answer the person needs. But there's something else that goes on with that too. What government does well is service, and it defines what service is, right? So service is, I write you a check. Service is, I give you a drug. Service is, I find you a home, whatever. Service is, I do the thing, right? And then government does the thing. Very good. And that's it. But is the person helped? Not even an thought about. Government has to check the box. It did the thing, and therefore it gets the thing, but it doesn't matter if it's helped or not. Government cannot help. Community can actually help. And that's a critical aspect. If you get someone who cares, you can then get the issue so you can be helped. And that's the difference. But there's one more piece. I go one step further. If I'm in trouble and I need money, say, and I go to the government to get my money, how do I feel about that? I go to the government and I go, yeah, I'm a citizen. I deserve my money. Give me my entitlement. Give me my money. I deserve it. That's how I go. But what if I had to go to my community instead? Now I got to go to you and I go, I'm in trouble. Can you help? And you go, yeah, of course. We love you. We care about you. We're going to help you. Now I feel like I owe my community back. Now I feel connected because now, okay, I'm in trouble now, but Andrew was in trouble last week and I'm going to help him out. And then next week, oh my God, now Phil's in trouble. I'm going to help him out. So each of us wants to help each other out. We begin to get together. And the example I'll give you in my state, at least, is the Amish, right? The Amish don't have to buy insurance. The Amish don't require Social Security. Not required. They've all agreed that if, Ezekiel's house burns down, we're going to go build his house. We've agreed to this already. We voluntarily agreed we're going to go build his house. That's what's going to happen. And if he gets in trouble, we're going to go take care of him. Because if I get in trouble, Ezekiel's coming to build my house. That's how that works. And I think the biggest issue between government and community is Government can only check a box and service. It can't help or care.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think there's a sense of having to humble yourself when you ask your
Yes.
community for help, and that kind of internalizes the like you were saying with government. They don't care about you,
Right.
and your community does. And strong communities are built voluntarily.
Absolutely.
And I think many social problems historically have been solved through local institutions before expecting government to do so. It's only a new thing where people automatically expect that the government will help them if they're
Yes.
falling on hard times. They automatically assume, okay, well, there's this government program or that
There's a
government
program for me. Yes.
There's a program for that. Yeah. And all that
I'll go further. In my city, New York City, where I live, most people don't know that the government didn't build the subway system, that the government didn't build the railroad system, that the government didn't start the busing companies. These were all private companies taken over by the government and then wrecked. If anyone ever watches the old TV show, The Honeymooners, from the 50s and 60s, that TV show, Ralph Cramden, he was a bus driver in Brooklyn, and he worked for the Gotham Bus Company. It was a private company in the 1950s. Buses were private. It wasn't government run. The subway system was private. It wasn't government run. So to your point, I'll go further. Even on infrastructure, we think must be built by government. It wasn't. It's wrecked by government, not built by government.
Well, and everything's more expensive because,
yes,
the government gives their contracts to their friends and prices are inflated and they have no motivation to get the projects completed. None. Because the government will just extend it and give them more money. And so everybody suffers because our taxes go up and then we have less to feed back into our communities and help others.
Absolutely. This free guy's back on again. What's this free guy doing here? He's 100 points for holding her own with Larry. I've never been able to do that. That's because you're not as smart as she is. That's the reason why you're not as smart as she is. Just accept it's true. You're not as smart as she is. Maybe one day, if you work hard, Free, you can be as smart as her. Doubt it, but maybe.
He's pretty smart.
D says, a community is better than government when it comes to anything. Well, not true, D. If you ever want to kill people in the millions, I mean, government's better at that, right? So you ever say to yourself, I really want to kill like millions and millions of people. Government's got you covered. I mean, they're good at that. That's their skill set. So not anything, most things, and definitely all things moral, for sure. But if you want to do some immoral stuff, I mean, government's pretty good at that stuff. It does it well. Just saying, pretty good at it. So Addison is here. How are you? How are you? So
she's awesome. Great. She's running for city council in, I believe, Jacksonville. Yep.
Jacksonville. Yes.
Florida.
Nice.
City
Very
council.
Good.
Yep.
I went down there when there were 3 guys running at the same time. I went down there and raised money for them. And yeah, so it was pretty cool. I think Spike, came down too. Is that right? I forgot. I think that's right. It was a while ago. But yeah, I have been down there. Absolutely. So I do appreciate that. All right. Let me keep grabbing some more of this if I can. And she says, yes, voluntary is key. True. This is why I love the Amish. People ask me, Larry, are you against socialism? I'm against involuntary socialism. Right. I'm against forced socialism. The Amish are voluntarily socialist. Awesome. Go enjoy. I don't mind. You have a choice. You've decided to do so. And in fact, many families become that way on their own. They voluntarily become more socialist or even communist within their own family voluntarily. I don't mind at all. I don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, people have asked me, philosophically, I'm an anarchist. How can I reconcile that with being Catholic? Well, collectivism is not bad if it's something that you choose for yourself.
Absolutely. Yes. Collectivism is not bad at all. I want to get together with people. People think that libertarian values and ideas are about being individual or being, selfish. No, it's about voluntary. That's all it is.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely. Craig says it used to be the church that helped the poor widows, orphans, and built hospitals. True.
We still do.
Absolutely. 100% true. Absolutely. So let me ask you before I let you go, anything you want to say on this day of happiness? Anything you want to say before we let you go?
No, I don't think so. I love coming on your show because you're always such a positive light.
Oh, and thank you.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. And That's about it. I
There we
appreciate
go.
you having me on.
I appreciate it. Guys, please follow her if you would at Amity Lee 13, if you would do so on X.
Thank
You can
you.
check her out. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Bye, Larry.
All righty. There we are. We have had some positive people today on this show on happiness, on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I appreciate all of you guys joining me. As I always ask you before you take off, please, if you would, click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. That button, you know I want you to do it. Share this someplace if you can. The people who are on the show tonight, you can see all of what they're doing here on my description, on Facebook, on Rumble, and also on YouTube. Please follow them. It does matter. If you've not subscribed to the channel you're watching, please subscribe. Every subscriber also does matter. I hope this was wonderful and interesting for you. Here's what I want you to do. Once the show is over, please comment if you would. Please comment if you would. And what I want you to comment on is tell me one thing that makes you happy. Just tell me one thing that makes you happy. I'll be on tomorrow for an AMA at 7 p.m. I'll see you all very soon.